Hey folks, it's me, M64 Bros, and I used to think Ubisoft was an interesting company. They've made a ton of interesting gold that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, and they've been releasing Just Dance, the Mario plus Rabbids game, and that one Star Fox game with Starlink. Wait a minute, I'm sure you guys don't even remember that game, huh? I might get it eventually, but let's talk about that at a later date. So while I was surfing on the internet and free roaming as always, I've noticed that some people are not liking Ubisoft.
There's something wrong going on here.
A lot of casual players are going to be asking, why are they hated? What did they do that's wrong? What's going on? Well, I'll do my best to explain the situation, and hopefully this video will tend to prove and hopefully force them to change their mind of what they are basically doing. Other than that, let's get into the topic. Star Wars Outlaws. I've heard a lot of interesting stuff about this game, and I thought the gameplay looks absolutely fantastic. And it says in quote, experience the first ever open world Star Wars game set between the events of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which sounds extremely really interesting. Oh. Yeah, this is how much dislikes they got in. Do not worry, I'm aware of what the situation is. However, I'm not going to talk about the whole ugly woman model or woke, whatever the hell the internet likes to complain about. Instead, I'm going to talk about the big mega problem about this situation. For starters, the price of the game is $70, $69.99. To add on to that frustration, the other editions are extremely expensive as hell as well.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating as always. I also heard that some YouTubers mentioned that these two DLC story packs should have been in the base game rather than just separate DLCs. But yeah, I can see why a bunch of people are frustrated. And no, I don't think anyone is going to be interested in getting the Ubisoft-like subscription service as well. Now I know some people are going to tell me, but M64, it's single player, and it's open world, and it's totally reasonable for them to do that. Also, there's no microtransactions, and it's not even live service. Well, that does lead to another big problem. And don't worry, you're right about one thing. The game is not live service, and it doesn't have microtransactions, but here's the big problem. Here is the base game, and I know, it's a beauty, but here's the big slap across the face. Let's zoom in a little closely to the corner. Yeah, that is the big problem. I can definitely see why a bunch of people are absolutely scared about the whole digital future, and so am I, and so are the rest of my fans. So Ubisoft decided to say, Star Wars Outlaws players will need to have an online connection to install the physical version of the game. Now, for some people, it may think, oh, that's not a big deal, but what if that person doesn't have an internet connection? By the end of the day, they might get nothing from that physical version. And that's the part that really pisses people off and completely scares them. So, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws is going to have a rough time. It's quite understandable that a lot of people are having negative thoughts about the game already in the comment section. For my three alternatives, rather than Star Wars Outlaws, I would say go with Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Jedi Survivor, or Jedi Fallen Order. My favorite is the Skywalker Saga, because you can go to other planets, have space battles, do combat, and everything else, play as your favorite Star Wars character, you name it. And yeah, it is really dang good, and I really love how you can play as almost every single Star Wars character you absolutely love. My favorite is R2-D2 and C-3PO, and yeah. But I'll do a whole other video on why LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is amazing at a later date. Skull and Bones. I've heard this game is the very first quadruple A game, meaning it has 4 A's, so you might be expecting for it to be good, right? Well, the good news is the game is $59.99, aka $60.
Oh, thank God.
Which is confirmed to be an online-only game, and you're unable to play the game offline, and it has microtransactions as always. And we all know how that goes. Also, yes, the comments from the Star Wars Outlaws videos are pretty much the same and explain a good point. This is what I've mentioned in the Suicide Squad video as well. Having an offline mode is even more important than the whole gaming preservation, whatever the hell the internet likes to argue on that part. But the fact that the video game is only available online is a huge slap across the face from my point of view. From my point of view, it should have been for free, just like Fortnite. Because the biggest problem is, once the internet is offline, that game is no longer available and you're unable to play it, which is a big slap across the face for all gamers. There's already a ton of YouTubers that are already making videos about the video game, and from the looks of it, they all look pretty negative and have the same exact thoughts as I have. I can see why a lot of people are absolutely sick of the whole live service system, and whatever you like to call that or pronounce that term. But yeah, Skull of Bones is really rough. I've also heard it has some weird facial animations, if I'm guessing correctly. Insomniac Games has better facial animations on the characters and their looks and how they're feeling, and yeah, I give huge props to Insomniac Games even more now. Lastly, and recently, as I was looking up more information, it turns out the CEO did actually defend the $70 price tag. But after seeing a bunch of negativity reviews of the game, I'm betting it was a best option for them to transfer back to $59.99, which is totally reasonable. If I were them though, I would have made the game for free. Oh look, they made a free trial, NVM, but it still doesn't excuse the fact that they decided to do this. And for what I'm referring to is making the game online entirely. But yeah, Skull and Bones is definitely rough, and it shows how absolutely rough it looks by the looks of it. My pirate alternatives is Sea of Thieves. I never played the game, but I did hear it has a lot of positive reviews. And it was created by Rare Ltd. Or alternatively, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. The game was released in 2013. It was released for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Wii U, Gen 4, and a whole lot of other swag. I might try this game out one day. It looks like it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of positive reviews. Or even Minecraft itself, considering the fact that you can actually leave the ship and travel through the island without witnessing an invisible wall. Yes, there's actually an invisible wall in Skull and Bones, which I already found out, and it proves my point. Actually, our point about Ubisoft. Other than that, let's proceed to the next situation. Now for the two final parts that pissed off a lot of people. The modern Ubisoft games you actually don't even own. Just like the Switch Online Classic, NES, SNES, N64, and the rest of the games, you actually have to run them through a membership. Basically similar to Apple Arcade and a whole other services. And at any point, whether you paid $70 or $60 for those games, Ubisoft can easily take them away in a heartbeat. Meaning you don't actually own the games, you're actually borrowing them. I couldn't make this up no matter how hard I try, but other YouTubers mentioned it and they explained a good point.
I would rather pay for my games and have a game that I could turn on my PlayStation 2 20 years later if I want to, than have some streaming bullshit where you may be able to turn access off to it at any given time.
You no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures?
Hello. We noticed that you have not been using your Ubisoft account. We have temporarily suspended your inactive Ubisoft account, and will be closing it permanently in 30 days.
One of my favorite videos about Ubisoft, I highly recommend you check out his video and go show him your massive support. Lastly, if you haven't been using your Ubisoft account for a long ass while, maybe because you've been busy a lot, doing other stuff, playing something else, doing other games, if you're not using your account for so long, then they can easily terminate it and suspend it, along with all of the games you have on that account. Basically similar to the Steam scam situations I've mentioned on one of my previous videos. The only difference is that Steam does it a whole lot better, mainly because everyone knows how Steam works and you can keep your games on Steam forever, however you like, until the world ends, unlike Ubisoft. So by the end of the day, Ubisoft makes EA look 10 times better. I thought you would redeem yourself after Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, and that upcoming Iron Man game. I was wrong. To end off this video for good, one of my fans told me and mentioned there was a website called Stop Killing Games. And from the looks of it, it looks pretty interesting. And yeah, if this turns out to be a success and if it's big enough, it can force Ubisoft to make some changes to improve themselves. So hopefully this should work, and there might be a chance it might not. Other than that, that's it for this video. Hope you guys find this video interesting. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So peace out.